common misconception about mental health is that it's often mistaken for character traits.
When I was in middle school,
I slowly stopped leaving my room. My parents would ask if I wanted to go somewhere, and I say,
nah, I'm good.
Every single time. Unless I was at school, I was in my room, playing a game or sleeping. I stopped going outside. I stopped playing basketball, which was my love at the time. I stopped caring and started dealing with nihilistic thoughts. I felt like at the ripe age of 14, I had done everything I wanted to do and everything else was pointless. That was life for like 4 to 5 months. My parents saw me not wanting to leave and they just saw it as me being antisocial. But it was deeper than that, so much deeper. And I can't fault them for not knowing. I didn't want to talk to them and I didn't want to talk to anyone else about it. Honestly, it wasn't until I was about to move that I felt better.
I guess you could say the grass was greener on the other side. Yeah.
And for the longest, I looked back on that time period and I always said that I was just really sad. I didn't want to label myself. I didn't want to think what I was going through was depression. I felt like labeling myself would have took away from others and their experiences. But the truth is,
I definitely was depressed. What I had experienced was situational depression.
I know for a fact that I wasn't happy with the school I went to. Home life wasn't all too terrible. I had a girlfriend at the time, but she was cheating on me, and I still haven't gotten over it. And I was insecure about everything. I didn't like my hair, my face, or my body, and I didn't feel like anything was going to change. I always felt on guard at school, whether it was someone trying to fight, my ex-girlfriend about to cheat again,
or roasting.
I know everyone says that roasting is purely fun and childish, and in some aspect it is, in most aspect it is, but it's also where a lot of insecurities are born. And as we all know, kids are fucking ruthless.
One time, my two friends were going back and forth, and one of them said that he lived in a trash can, knowing he was very poor. My friend, that obviously got told that he was living in a trash can, he was about to cry, and we had to comfort him. We deadass had to comfort him. And I just want to say, nothing is wrong with that, as, you know, little boys and men are allowed to cry. What wasn't okay was that joke.
Anyways, a lot of the roasting sessions I was involved in usually was about my looks, you know, something, you know, about
whatever you looked like at the time in middle school. That's what someone was going to clown on, or maybe your shoes or whatever. I wore a uniform, so it's usually just your shoes and whatever you look like.
I would laugh with them, but over time, it got to me, you know? It started hurting my confidence. And every damn day I had to go back to that school, the worse it got. It wasn't until one night I was in my bed and I couldn't go to sleep.
And funny enough, this video about simulated reality
by Lemino. I don't know how, I can't say this shit right. Give me 1 second. Let me make sure
It's either Lemino or Lamino, whatever the fuck. Not whatever the fuck. I want to respect the channel. It's a great channel, has great videos. But
yes, I was watching that YouTube video about simulated reality.
It helped my whole mindset about nihilism and feeling hopeless, not caring about anything.
It stopped me from thinking that life was pointless and I don't need to really do anything else. And I don't know why. I didn't even think I could have been thinking about skydiving. Skydiving would have been fun. I don't know. But regardless, with me feeling hopeful again, couple that with also knowing that I was moving, I began to climb my way out of depression. When I moved, I made new friends. Overall, the area was better, and I started playing basketball again. My confidence was, you know, so-and-so, I guess. But I was feeling better overall. I got better when I left my old area. The depression came from outside of me and other factors that I was luckily able to escape from. Others
aren't so lucky.
Some have to deal with their own minds. Some can't leave the environment that's causing it. And I'm not just talking about depression. I'm talking about every mental disorder. I will argue that most, if not all humans, are victims of their environments. So with that being said, unless you can move like I did, get help from resources around you,
you might be fucked.
You might not be fucked. You're probably not gonna be fucked. It just, the environment that you're in makes your life harder, depending on where you're at. Growing up black, you'll experience a lot of stigmas around mental health. You'll get the classic,
you got food on your table, clothes on your back, and a roof over your head.
If you even told them that you were sad.
It gets shut down quick and you still feel alone, trapped in your own head with your own thoughts.
I saw a video and he said the only emotion that is valid inside of a black household tends to be anger. Usually when you've been fed up with them not caring about what you're going through, or that you're anxious or depressed, dealing with some type of other mental illness or whatever, it gets pushed to the side because a lot of times parents don't really see you as human. Sad enough, they don't really see you as human during that time. They only just see you as a kid And a kid shouldn't be sad. A kid shouldn't be anxious. A kid shouldn't be what they would like to call ungrateful. But that's not what it is. They dealt with things when they were also small, but even their parents basically told them, hey, you're not really dealing with anything serious. So now you're trying to explain to your parents, hey, I'm not doing too well. I'm not doing too well mentally in my head. And they push it away just like their parents did. And it just creates a cycle. What I'm trying to get at is that pay attention to your kids. Pay attention to what they're going through and listen to them before it's too late. Before they make a decision that ruins their lives. Before they're not able to get the help that they need early on.
You might not be able to pay attention in class because you can't focus for a long time. Instead of going to the doctors to get diagnosed, your parents tell you to get your act together and stop acting a fool. These are just two examples of how mental disorders get overlooked. So kids grow up without proper help and end up making it to adulthood with the same issues that they had when they were younger.
They've always felt like something was wrong. They've been told that they were fine their whole lives, but they weren't.
And when you have untreated anxiety, depression, ADHD, bipolar, and other illnesses,
you also get chronic stress, relationship problems, career issues. And when you realize you might have a problem with that noggin of yours,
it might be too late.
Now this goes for everyone, but I mainly want to touch on how this affects Black people. As you know, I'm kind of speaking from experience. Like I said in the beginning of the video, mental health is often mistaken for character traits. If you have anxiety or trauma, they label you as aggressive, angry, and difficult. ADHD, they label you as disruptive, hyper, and unruly. Depression, they label you as lazy, unmotivated, and irresponsible. These are the labels that get put on us, especially by your common races, as being Black, right? As being Black, or maybe, and if you're not Black, maybe it's not your common races, maybe it's just the people around you that don't understand or haven't done enough research into mental health, i.e. your parents. It's probably your parents. Some of these generalizations are that we just don't want to work. We're always violent. We're always angry. But if you think about how trauma works and how it's passed down, our trauma really started with slavery and only accumulated throughout the years, throughout the centuries of struggle. I kind of talked about that in my last video. Shameless plug type shit.
Anyways, a lot of us are roaming around without being treated for our psychological disorders. I imagine growing up with poor conditions and with poverty. And with poverty comes crime. Not knowing if you'll be the next victim or where your next meal will be. It'd be real fucking hard not to be anxious or depressed when you don't know what's coming next, simply for the fact of your financial conditions. Those type of living conditions aren't okay for anyone, but especially children. Now that I think about it, rich people shouldn't have any reason to have a mental disorder. Damn, I kind of forgot about genetics for a second. My fault, y'all.
And don't let society tell you that you grew up just fine, because you didn't. You had it hard, and your mind knows it. Don't be afraid to reach out for help.
Forget about the stigmas. You aren't crazy.
The mad Black woman. You call her angry because her anxiety is masked as irritability. You call her angry because her anger is trauma from the life she has lived. You call her angry because she is too emotional. When you call her the mad Black woman, you've put her in a box. The box muffles and suffocates until you can't hear her, until her words are no longer valid. Only her words are valid. Her emotions are valid. Her reactions are valid. She is valid and heard. I speak about the Black woman as I speak for everyone. I use the Black woman as my example because they are often the most overlooked. Because when their emotions are characterized as who they are, their mental illnesses go unnoticed and untreated. In the same way most of society looks at Black women and their mental health as an afterthought, we must stop doing that with the entirety of the Black community, but especially for our Black queens.
Many college students have gone to college and gotten hooked on drugs, marijuana, and alcohol. Listen, stop trying to be somebody else. Don't try to be someone else. Be yourself.
But when your mental issues are not addressed,
Usually you resort to other things.
So what's the escape? Is it drugs,
Like
weed, cocaine, heroin, LSD?
the shit that makes your life a little easier in the moment, but your brain is still right there when you're calming down. Someone cue the music. What about alcohol? Like drinking your pain away or drowning yourself in your tears and sorrows with the bottle? What about sex? What about porn? What about Nick? and Alandria.
Get it? Cause Nick, Landria, you know. Yeah. All right, no, okay, never mind. No.
What about it all? The escape is usually an addiction of some sort, and this is what I mean when I say by the time you realize something is wrong with your brain, it might be too late. Or not, you know, it's never really too late, but for the video's sake, it might be too late. Or maybe you just don't care. You might feel like the medication suppresses you, and I get it. I wouldn't want to feel suppressed in any way. But by not taking something that could potentially help you in your life, it's harming you in the long run. I think whether you suffer from a mental health illness or not, with the current state of the world and how we live, you're susceptible to some kind of addiction. Stress will do it to you. I know that one for sure. But as every commercial will say, addiction is not the way unless it's profitable. And we can make a quick buck off you. Guys, this is my sponsor. This video is brought to you by Kalishi. Make sure you gamble.
Bet on the odds of whether this video is going to be over 100 views or not. Anyways,
what I'm trying to say is,
you keep trying to run away from your problems only to find out that they keep getting worse. Now you're a 40-year-old drug addict struggling with homelessness and can no longer recognize the person you used to be.
And just go get help.
don't think of your mental health issues as a weakness. Instead, look at it as something that you might need help with. Give therapy a try. Try out some prescribed medication. Get some exercise, connect with others, and realize that you're not alone. Whatever you do, don't give up. Don't let the world box you in. Don't box yourself in. You are more than your mental illness. This is a part of the video where I'm supposed to tell you, what to do, the next move to make, and, how to make sure you overcome, what you're going through. But I don't think I'm going to do that. Everyone's journey is different. Everyone has a different path, and different things work for different people. Different. I think it's important to bring awareness to this topic because almost everyone has some form of mental illness. I used to think that I was relatively normal and that my quirky traits was just who I was. I used to have people saying like, oh, I bet you think you're, super, deep and sad and just, the world is against me. And I would tell them, no, I honestly don't. I feel pretty normal, and it still connects back to how I felt in middle school about when I was actually depressed. And obviously, I'm not going to sit here and claim, oh yeah, I am one of them sad boys. I wasn't. I'm not. For the most part, I'm not. With life kind of recently, though, it's a little hard. I might teeter the line of it a little bit, but for the most part, I wouldn't say that I am a sad boy. I would not say that. I say I'm relatively happy or happy enough. Regardless though, I thought those quirky traits was just who I was. But then I was informed that wanting to do multiple things at once or jumping from task to task were symptoms of ADHD. And I probably have more symptoms than I can think of in a moment, but regardless, I haven't been diagnosed and I kind of don't plan on it. I think it's kind of my superpower. Until I can't focus on a simple task, being diagnosed and taking Adderall probably would have helped in college. But that wasn't really my path. When it comes to most things, it is still my superpower. But for others, maybe you do need the Adderall or a therapist. Just get fucking diagnosed, man. I don't know. Shit. Okay.